Hi, welcome to Syncast powered by Commercient. I'm Heath McKnight. Joining me today is Mike Stoltzfus, who is the CEO of Koble. How you doing today, Mike?
Doing great.
Awesome. Now, tell me a little bit about yourself and how you came to become the CEO of Koble.
Yeah, I'm a Christian, husband, father, entrepreneur. My wife and I live in Lancaster, Pennsylvania with our family. We've got five kids from age 8 years old down to about 2 months old. So it's a busy house right at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And tell me a little bit about Koble. The people I've talked to in the past have been like our partners, so they're consulting partners. So they deal with the CRMs with the world. Some of them even deal with the actual ERP, so they would help companies out. In this case, Koble, among other things, is an ERP software system, and I was wondering if you could tell me about it.
Yeah, so we focus more on the small business side of things, some mid-market, but mainly small business. That's kind of a space I love to work in personally, and that's where Koble was at even before I joined. So ERP for small business is the core of what we do in terms of product services oriented around that. And we've gone a little bit deeper with things like change management or sort of related consulting to help pave the way for a system change, software change, and that kind of thing, because the people side of an ERP implementation, or if we ask the question of how does a customer get the value out of the ERP, so much has to do with them having a good organizational structure in place, being ready to implement change and have some of the flexibility that is required to implement software and get the value out of it. So we've branched out a little bit, but it's really all focused in around that small business ERP.
That's excellent. And what are some of the industries that Koble serves?
There's a handful. Equipment is a big one for us, and there's some sub industries there. So that can be ag equipment manufacturing to warehouse equipment, sales, service, rental, those different aspects. We tend to do well where there are those different business divisions or areas of focus within a customer's business, where there's the manufacturing side, there's a buy sell side, there's a service side, maybe even rental. We have kind of built out the tooling for that because that's what our customers needed, and then just sort of leverage that because there's that intersection of varying needs and complexity that grows as the business grows. And so, okay, so
Yeah.
QuickBooks, Excel spreadsheets doesn't quite fit it anymore. So equipment's a big one for us. Lumber, building materials, same kind of scenario, different industry. And then small business manufacturing and wholesale distribution, just as general categories, kind of because we have the skill set and the product built out for more advanced scenarios. We can tend to do well just in manufacturing, distribution, wholesale more generally.
Excellent. Let's talk about the values and culture of Koble, and also from speaking with your team, the belief that you and your team hold that the right systems lead to better businesses, more productive teams, and even beyond that, thriving communities, because these companies are within a community.
Yeah, that's a fun one because as we were talking about just a little bit earlier, before jumping on the call here, just because you have an ERP solution, that doesn't mean it's the solution for every business scenario that's out there. So we don't want to fall into the trap of we've got a hammer, everything's a nail. And so that's where we want to focus on the right system because we're really committed to delivering for the customer. And so we need to have a good sense of confidence going into it that yes, we can deliver on the success metrics. What does a customer need to get out of this partnership? What do they want to need out of the software? Yes, we can deliver that. Okay, so now we've got the right system. So that's sort of the foundational piece. And then better business is more about helping them lead and manage their business, regardless of the environment that's happening out there, which has been a lot of fun, complicated, interesting things the last couple of years in particular. But a lot of these companies, small businesses, as they're growing, they're entrepreneurial, they kind of hit a growth ceiling and just struggle to reach their real potential without having a good system, process, technology suite in place. And we have so many customers who've told us that we've revolutionized their business or really transformed their business. And that's after implementing our product. And that's really helped them take their business to the next level. So adding locations, adding employees, fulfilling their own mission for their company, the employees they work with, the communities they're in, and so on. And then there's simple examples like inventory costing, where with the supply chain challenges of the last couple of years, that's become maybe harder than ever to manage that well. And there's a local customer here in Lancaster I spoke with over COVID, soon after that all sort of started happening. And so he's an ag equipment manufacturer, and his steel prices will go up 30% or whatever it is. And he's immediately in a spot where he's going to be losing a lot of money if he doesn't adjust pricing to the customer and so on right away. He'd been using the software for quite a number of years. So they had a good process for purchasing, inventory control, costing, had that visibility, had that set up. And so that might be a simple or just a boring routine. Well, yeah, you've got ERP, that's what you do. And all of a sudden the environment changes and you have a whole different appreciation for that relatively simple thing. So he was able to navigate some of that supply chain challenges relatively easily because of it. So that's just really cool.
I guess you could say it is boring. It's just like, hey, day in and day out, everything's moving, and then it just gets flipped upside down. I mean, something as simple as a lot of people, couldn't go to the gym, so they were getting on bicycles, and suddenly you couldn't get a bike. And so the supply chain was just quite a headache, to be honest.
I still haven't gotten a bike.
I got pretty lucky. I got a newer bike right when everything hit. But I mean, it's just being able to manage all of that. You hit upon something that I find interesting. A lot of companies are using, and we hear this all the time with the spreadsheets, whether it's because they needed to upgrade to a better ERP or put a CRM in place, or it was a limited piece of software. Do you see companies really struggling with their current? Maybe it's just an accounting system and they're adding products, but it's not that robust. And as they continue to grow, it's like, listen, this software is holding us back. We need something like Koble. Is that really where you're seeing a lot of your customers, or is that just part of how they are moving to something a lot more powerful as your solution?
Yeah, usually that's the case for us. We're that entry-level small business ERP. Not always, but typically a customer is coming from QuickBooks or QuickBooks plus Excel plus paper plus whatever else. So there's a fragmented system problem. There's a real scalability problem because it's difficult to communicate from sales to purchasing to production and keep that flow of information going. So if their customer places an order, it can be difficult even for a sales rep to answer the question of what's the status of that order because of that fragmented system. Of course, you've got dual entry going on. Right? So you might have a CRM or your sales side of things happening out here. Then you've got Excel spreadsheets for inventory, maybe for production, and QuickBooks for accounting. And that works to a point, right? Like starting a business is hard. You've got to bootstrap it, but then you hit that ceiling and the level of complexity starts holding things back, adding stress, driving you crazy as the entrepreneur, the manager in the middle of that scenario, trying to serve customers, be a good boss to the employees, move the company forward. So yeah, a lot of times that's what we come into. And hence some of the transformation, right? You move from that scenario into a mature ERP built out for their industry, where it solves so many of those kinds of challenges, where there's centralized data There's multiple teams, departments using the same software. The workflow for order entry is there, feeds right into, okay, so that's the product they want. So now we can see how many customers want purchasing and inventory management. They can see what we have on hand, what we've on order with our vendors, and kind of see how that fits together. Should I order more? When are they coming in? So that's generally where a lot of the transformation for our customers comes in, is order entry and inventory. Some production as well, for sure, but a lot of it has to do with moving stuff and doing that better and faster and with better visibility.
Awesome. And we've been kind of touching upon the challenges and everything. What are some of the big challenges or other challenges that maybe we didn't discuss that your customers face? And more importantly, how does your company help them overcome that, even beyond just the ERP solution? And I was wondering if you could talk about that, and then even tell me, what is life for them like afterwards? And it sounds like you touched upon it, but if we could maybe kind of go into that just a little bit more.
Yeah, so beyond the software, our customers face a lot of the same challenges I would imagine your customers would, and business generally. So big problem right now is the labor market, right? There's work level of 10, there's work capacity, employees able to, complete 9 of the 10 things, right? And so that's a challenge where we don't get into recruiting or HR necessarily, but what we do help with and focus in on is employee productivity. So we can sit down with a customer and say, all right, so where are you feeling that labor shortage the most? And then can we look at some of your workflow and processes in that area of the company with you? Maybe there's some ways of automating things, streamlining things, doing it better or faster. Maybe you hired a new employee or 10.
Mm-hmm.
Are they trained to use the software? On a scale of 1 to 10, what's their competency in the software for what you need them to be doing? That can make a huge difference, where sure, you can get all the features, but how well are you actually using them and applying them in your business? And now you can get a lot more value out of the software, which is cool. We love it. Yeah. But more importantly, they can run a better business and their employees can work with less stress and be more productive.
Awesome. And where do you see Koble over the next 5 years?
Yeah, so we've got fantastic customers. We love them. It's a lot of fun working with them. We've got a great team. So basically what we want to do is we want to do more of what we're doing. So keep growing with our existing customers, keep building out the new sales team, grow that way as well. And then there's new products in the wings we're working on. So excited for the possibilities there as we continue to roll out new features, new products, and get customer adoption with that.
Awesome. And do you see different industries being served with Koble beyond just kind of what we talked about?
Longer term, potentially. In the near term, we're not as excited about going into different industries as we would be going deeper in some of the industries that we serve currently. We're seeing good amounts of opportunity there. But another really important thing for us is, so we really want to serve the customer well, which means that we need to come to the market with a good product that fits their industry, that's intuitive for their workflow. And we also need to build a team that understands the language of that industry. So if we're working with a truck upfitter or an ag equipment manufacturer or building materials dealer, do we understand the lingo, their day-to-day speak? Can we get in business with them and make that connection? That's really huge. So it's really quite expensive to branch into a new industry.
Sure.
And we're making significant investments elsewhere right at the moment. So between seeing good opportunity in the industries we're in currently, along with it's a big move and one we take very seriously to branch out, not looking to do as much of that. The one caveat to that, though, is we have a small but growing network of value-added resellers. And so what we're looking for there is to bring on resellers who want to do that sales and marketing and support the customer, maybe in those industries. And what would be even better is a partner who can do some level of software development on their own. And so extend our platform, build out some of the industry specific features for an industry we might not be as focused in on. They can do that well. We can work together and support them in that. So that's another way for us to continue to grow and broaden our impact. But we don't need to do all the work ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of talking a little bit about Commercient, you touched upon CRM and that the sales team is going to be putting in data. And then, a lot of times that data has to be then put into an ERP like Koble. If I'm a salesperson and I'm on the phone with a customer or a prospect, I'm putting in the contact information, I'm putting in all kinds of data, and the bare minimum that's got to go over to that, and that's double data entry. Things can get messed up, orders could get messed up. And then on the other side of the coin, I may not have any direct access to that ERP data, so I need to call the accounting team. I may need to call the head of sales, just to find out what's going on with a customer. Can I quickly give them an answer on where their order is at, et cetera, and to keep them kind of in that one platform, a CRM such as Salesforce, HubSpot, Zoho, et cetera. That's where Commercient comes in and syncs that awesome data from Koble so they can get those answers quickly. And then on the other side of the coin, what they're putting in gets synced accurately, quickly, eliminates the double data back to Koble. And I was wondering if you could just talk a little bit about your thoughts on the importance of Commercient being able to move that data.
Yeah, I think it's really cool what you're doing. It really depends on the problem that the customer is trying to solve. Looking at our own customer base, a lot of our smaller customers are going to run their order entry and sales process basically within our ERP. But then you get to a point where the sales process gets more complicated, or you have a larger sales team. And so now you need better pipeline data. You need a lot more tracking, or you're building out more of a marketing strategy, digital marketing in particular. Now you're looking for marketing automation. So something like HubSpot can come in there as well. So basically small businesses, they can be okay to a level perhaps without it, live with some of the pain you get without the integration. But then you get to a point where now you're back to having a fragmented system again. So you might have implemented a Koble ERP product 10 years ago. Now you've grown a ton, but now it starts feeling like we've got a QuickBooks and Excel spreadsheet and paper system again, because we've got stuff going on in marketing and CRM, but it's not talking to the ERP. And so that's what really matters then. So, so who needs what data to drive what action, what behavior, what outcomes, and start syncing that up again. So now we can be back to one system, one team, good flow of information. We have access to the information that we need when we need it. Now we can serve our customers, run our business smoothly again. So depends on the scenario, just like ERP, right?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily one size fits all, but yeah, like once we created a visibility problem again, then it's time to look at syncing up that data again.
Yeah, awesome. And thank you so much for that. Mike, how can people find out more about Koble?
Koblesystems.com.
Awesome.
Check it out. Reach out. Happy to talk anytime.
Awesome. And thank you so much again for your time today.
Absolutely. Thank you.